Yeah, so obviously I want to talk to you today about Jackie, and I live here where the statue was stolen. It's also personal to me because my dad is the executive director of the nonprofit baseball league who helped build the statue, and obviously you played with him for a long time. So today's his birthday. I know you've heard about the statue. Have you been reflecting on Jackie a lot over the last few days?
Well, yes, I have been, because I played with Jackie nine or possibly 10 seasons. We're good friends, and he's a very high-class person. Of course, everybody knows he's a great athlete, but he was a genuine, well-educated, and a very genuine friend of mine.
Absolutely. I think you guys broke into the Dodgers organization in the same year, 1946. He was in the minor leagues. You were at a different minor league stop. So what was the talk around the Dodgers organization when he became part of the organization? I'm sure there were a lot of conversations. How did those go with your teammates?
Well, there was never any friction or guys all respected him, and of course, it went both ways. And so we never had a problem with that. And Jackie was a class person, well educated, and of course, everybody recognized right away. I'm glad he's on our side.
Yeah. So, you're about 8 years younger than him. Was he someone you looked up to just because, he'd had experience obviously playing in the Negro leagues? And like I said, what did you look up to him in a way?
Well, I didn't have a problem either way, because I grew up in a town of Anderson, Indiana, and my best buddy was a black athlete who was an all-state athlete named Johnny Wilson. And I'd had that experience, and it was no problem for me at all with Jackie. So we hit it off very well, and of course I respected him a lot. And the race thing never entered our experience. It was just, he was a teammate, and that was it.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Why do you think the race thing? Because, obviously baseball to that point had not had a black player. Why were the Dodgers, or most of the Dodgers seemingly, able to kind of overlook that?
Well, we were glad he was on our side. He was a very exciting player to watch or to be a teammate with. So there was no friction of any kind on our side. And he was aggressive and very exciting base runner. So we were happy he was on our team.
Yeah, absolutely. And he was a Dodger in 47. You were a Dodger beginning in 1948. Do you feel like things had calmed down around the league? Maybe some of the opponents, maybe some of the outcry over him playing. Was that still there, or that it had?
Yes, you're right. It was still there, and it lingered for a while. But he was such an outstanding player that soon went away, and he gained the respect of other players.
Were you able to look at him? I mean, I imagine the answer is yes, because like you said, he was on your side. But were you able to look at him less as a cultural figure and more of a teammate? Did you even consider him a cultural figure? Were you able to grasp the importance of that moment at the time?
Well, I'd had a pre-experience that made everything okay for me with him. But I grew up and had a close friend, Johnny Wilson was his name, was a star athlete in Indiana. And he and I grew up in the same neighborhood. And so I'd had that experience already. So it was no problem with me and Jackie at all.
Absolutely. So, like you said, you played with Jackie for a long time. I want to know what kind of person he was. Who was the guy you were able to get to know, and what kind of interesting things did you learn about him along the way and in those years?
Well, I think Jackie understood what his role was, and of course, he was an intelligent person. He understood things in depth. So he was very well aware of what he represented, and I think he felt a calling, almost, you might say, to stamp the right kind of image, being the first black player. Of course, he was an outstanding athlete, number one. Secondly, he was a person of character. Things meant something to him. It wasn't just a ho-hum experience. So he knew, and he expressed it as well, that he was kind of breaking a barrier, and he wanted to do it in the right way. He was a good class person.
Absolutely, no question. Was the Dodgers the perfect organization for that? What do you think overall made the Dodgers organization from top to bottom as welcoming as they were?
Well, I think it reflected the owner himself, Branch Rickey.
Yeah.
Mr. Rickey was a very kind individual. He professed his Christian faith in the right way, and he was a very smart owner. He was very tuned in for baseball. He had a baseball mind.
Yeah, and you threw a couple no-hitters at Ebbets Field, which is just incredible. And I know Jackie, you said he saved one of those. Can you tell me that story?
Well, he was playing third base, and there was a ball hit hard. Willie Mays hit a shot to his left. Now, one thing about Jackie, he was quick. Now, fast is one thing, but quick is something else. He moved, and his reflexes were so good. Mays hit a ball hard to his left, and his instincts kicked in. He made a beautiful pickup, made it turn it into an easy out. That was his forte, really. He was quick on his feet, quick hands, and a very exciting base runner. Yes, he was an exciting player.
I'm just curious because that is amazing. I'm a big baseball fan. I follow the history, and to be speaking to someone who says, well, Willie Mays hit a ball and Jackie Robinson fielded it, that's incredible to me. I mean, I can't even imagine. And you experienced that. What does that feel like to be a part of that level of history?
Well, I always recognize the fact that it was quite a rare privilege to be playing at that level. And so I had an admiration for the status of being a major league player. I always felt like that was a badge of honor. And I think it is. I still feel that way.
Yeah, as you should. And when did you hear about the theft of the statue?
Well, where I'm at in a retirement village, the word came down, and I didn't really get to read the news coverage of it for a day or two after it actually happened. So I finally was kind of able to understand it.
Yeah, what goes through your mind when something like that happens? Because here, we didn't know Jackie, but we want to honor him and celebrate him and celebrate his spirit. But you knew him, so how personal was that for you? What did that feel like for you when you heard that news?
Well, it just turned out Jackie and I, besides being teammates, we became very close friends. And I had grown up in a mixed neighborhood in Anderson, Indiana. And one of my close buddies was a black young man named Johnny Wilson. he was a star athlete in Indiana, and it was sort of a forerunner for my experience with Jackie. It was interesting. It happened that way. But I always respected Jackie a lot. He was a very intelligent person. Actually, in those days, not too many of us were college experienced. Jackie had been to college, and so he was a very intelligent person and very driven. He was very committed to what he was. I guess he felt like he was trying to prove something, but he had an intense. Duke Snyder was my roommate, and he told me one day, he says, "Carl, you want to see a game face?" There was always a term in sports that when a guy was really locked into the situation, his competitiveness was coming through really strong. They said he had a game face, and he was there for business to get it done and get it done right. And that's exactly the way Jackie was. There was no nonsense about him and his commitment to his playing days. And of course, he was a superstar anyway. And there's a difference between being fast and being quick. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but Jackie had these instincts. He almost made the move before he needed to because he had such a good feel for his position. And so, yes, he was very quick, but it was just his nature. It just came natural for him.
Yeah. I just had one more question. I really appreciate you doing this, by the way. But, you, I think, stopped playing in after 57, if I have that right. He was done, I think, maybe a year or two earlier. Did you keep up with him? Did you stay in touch over those about 15 years before he passed away? And if not, I'm sure that you admired the work he was doing from afar as far as the civil rights movement went.
Well, yeah, I respected Jackie a lot. I may have already mentioned this, I'm not sure I remember right, but I had a close friend, a black young man named Johnny Wilson in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And he was a superstar in Indiana. In fact, he was Mr. Basketball in Indiana. So I had that experience to lean on. And it was a valuable thing for me to have that experience with Jackie. So that it was kind of like a forerunner. I was kind of prepared for it.
Absolutely. Well, Carl, I really appreciate it. I appreciate your time so much. It was, like I said, it's an honor to speak to you, a Brooklyn Dodger. Just amazing. So thank you so much.
Well, I'm always pleased to recall those good days and those teammates of mine. It was quite an experience.
Absolutely. Have a wonderful day, Carl.
Thank you so much. Same to you and your family.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Thank you. Bye.